Hi guys, so this is just a quick little video to talk about my TBR for this month. I would do the TBR game, but I'm doing 2 readathons, and with my schedule I think I'm just going to stick with the books in this one, and my TBR can be back next month. So the 2 readathons I'm taking part in are the Magical Readathon hosted by G Book Roast and Becca's Bookathon hosted by Becca in the Books, both of which I'll link in my description below. Now if I look this way, it's just because I'm looking at my computer to see all the prompts that I have. So I've managed to combine quite a few of these in terms of prompts. So I'll just read these as we go and I'll tell you which one it's for. Luckily I've posted notes on it to remind me, especially if they're doubled up. So the first book is for the Magical Readathon for my book with a map. It's The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm finally getting into this fandom just about. I figured I'll start with The Hobbit instead of Lord of the Rings because I feel like this is a smaller size than the Lord of the Rings books. And this will also give me a sense of whether I enjoy the world or not. And the next one covers 2 prompts from both bookathons. It fills the Ashbourne Tree section of the map for G's, which is a book that keeps tempting you. And it was a TBR game prompt for my Becca's Bookathon, and it's Renegades by Marissa Meyer. Ignore the post-it notes on the cover. That's my own personal notes. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about this book. I found it at like the charity shop for like $1, so I figured I'd give it a go. It's a big book and the writers are very big, so it might take me a bit, but it does intrigue me, so I'm looking forward to it. The next one that I have also works with 2 prompts for both. In the Magical Readathon, it covers the Mr. Solitude prompt, which is to read a standalone, and it is my first letter prompt, which is in a different pile. I'll confirm which one this was for when I get to that. And it is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. Eleanor and Park. Again, most of the like popular name books that I have, I only get because I find them at charity shops. So then if I don't like the Heights book, it only costs me like $1 or $2. This isn't usually the genre that I lean towards, but I figured I do want to try it because it sounds like an interesting book. And yeah, so that fills these 2 prompts. And the next one I have, again, also fills prompts for both readathons. In Bookathon, it fills the prompt of buzzword for people, which is like girl, boy, man, that. And in G's Book Roast Readathon, it fills the prompt of read a mystery or thriller, and that's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Lawson. This book both intrigues me and scares me, but it more scares me because of the trigger warnings that I'm worried this will make me feel. And if for some reason I don't end up reading this one because it triggers too much, I have The Girl Who Drank the Moon on standby to also fill the buzzword prompt, and I have another book that can fill this prompt. And then one of the next, and then the next book that I have for both G's Readathon and Becca's Bookathon isn't one that I own physically. It's an audiobook. And for Becca's Bookathon, it went in the Steal a Book prompt, which is steal a book for somebody else's TBR. And in G's, it is the one where you have to read a book set in ghost, haunted house, or supernatural creatures. And I might be stretching this one a bit, but I wanted to make as much of this fit as possible. And it's a book called Crimson Bound, that I'll put the cover of somewhere up here. And it's a Red Riding Hood retelling, I think. I don't really know for sure because it wasn't my TBR. So yeah, that's Crimson Bound. I can't tell you much about it because I don't own it physically and I haven't read it. And my next book... Oh wait, no. My next book is actually another ebook that I have, which is purely for G's Readathon. And it is My Dark Vanessa, which is in the 5-star prediction slot. And it also works for Books and Lala's Buzzwordathon because the theme is dark. So, cool. That still covers 2 readathons, but not the 2 I was intending. Okay? And the last prompt for G's Magical Readathon map was to read a book with a school setting. And this book also was a chance card that I was able to get to fit in. And it's called The Rains by Greg Hurwitz. And it's about... Yeah. It's about the... I don't really know for sure what it's about. I guess I'll just read the back because it's all I've got. It's never really been my thing to be the brave one. That's always been my older brother Patrick. But something world-changing is happening in our small town of Creek's Cause. Parasites have infected everyone over the age of 18, making them violent. And if they even sniff a kid, they either bash our brains out or take us back to their creepy lair. We're trapped at the school with the other remaining survivors, including Patrick's girlfriend Alex, and we don't know how long we'll last. The school is surrounded by infected adults, and we're sure that there is something else out there, something controlling the people that used to be our parents, our guardians. But here's the real problem. Patrick is turning 18 in a few days, so it's up to me, Chance Rain, to find a way to save him. And maybe, just maybe, if we survive the next few weeks, then we can help save humanity. So I think this is like a zombie invasion style story, but from what I just read of that, anyway, this sounds very good, and I look forward to reading it. Okay, and I have 3 more for G's Readathon, but this is my character prompts, and I chose my character to be to live in the outdoor setting. So, and this also covers another reading challenge I'm doing. It's not really a readathon, it's just 2 reading settings that we have. And it's TBR Knockout, which is read a book with fruit or veg on the cover. And so I'm going to read James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. I know this may be cheating a little bit, but I'm planning on doing this for a reading blog I'm doing later. So if I can get a head start on these, it'll work. And also, I need at least 1 short book on here. And the next book for my character building is Dark Academia, and for that I will be audiobooking The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Again, I don't have that physically because it's an audiobook, but I will put a picture of it somewhere up here. But I'm pretty sure everyone knows what The Raven Boys is about. And the last one that I have is to read the oldest book on my TBR, and that is a graphic novel called Username Regenerated by Joe Sugg, who I think is the YouTuber Joe Sugg, but it's a short little graphic novel. So, yeah. And luckily, if I don't get to these 2, it doesn't matter, because the character building session itself lasts until April. I do have to get the map prompts read. Okay, and moving on to the rest of the Bookathon prompts, because that's all my Magical Readathon prompts. And again, I'll pop over here because I have some on my list here that I don't have physically. So the ones that I haven't mentioned, the first chance card I got was The Scorch Trials by James Darshnell. This is the second book in the Maze Runner series. I read the first Maze Runner series, I think, a month ago, so at least it's still fresh in my mind what happened in this book. So, yeah, that's a chance card. The next one that I have is read a book inspired by history, and so for that I have Selling Hitler by Robert Harris. This is a book retelling the stories of the Hitler diaries. I don't know if it's satire or not, but it pretty much tells the story of one of the biggest frauds in history, so it clarifies as the history prompt. The next one that I got was Steal a Book, and for that I'm going to read the ebook of You by Caroline Kepnes. Again, because it's an ebook, I don't have a physical copy, but I will put it on screen somewhere. Okay, and the next one is Most Recent Purchase, and that hasn't turned up yet, so again, I don't have it next to me, simply because I haven't turned up in the mail yet. And that will be The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. That is a sci-fi comedy satire book about a guy who, I can't remember for sure, but because I haven't read the story in a while, and it's this guy from Earth who ends up going to space somewhere, and his adventures up there. Anyway, yeah, I'll put a picture of that on the screen, and I'll probably have a better explanation of that when I have it in front of me and I do my wrap up for this next month. The next prompt I got was the next prompt on my list I've already read, so we'll okay, skip the next two because they've already been read on my thing there. The next one that I have is, I got the prompt current events, and for that I will be reading Such a Fun Age, which also hasn't turned up yet because it's in the same order that I got Hitchhikers. That's about this black woman who gets arrested because she's babysitting a white kid, and she's taking the kid out in a shopping centre. And I figured it's the Black Lives Matter, so it counts as current events. Okay, the next one I got was LGBT+, and I own nothing of that physically, so I'll be, again, audiobooking One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. And yeah, so I'll put that somewhere on the screen. I think that story's like a romance meets science fiction, because it's like a time travel. The two people meet on a train and fall in love that way. Okay, and the next one that I got was another TBR game prompt, and I ended up on Parker Pine Investigates by Agatha Christie. I don't know if this is... Yeah, so this is a collection of short stories of Agatha Christie's, all about, and they all involve Parker Pine, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so Agatha Christie, she's a famous mystery writer. I've been slowly trying to read through the books of hers that I have, so we'll go with Parker Pine Investigates. The next one that I have is, I got a history prompt again, and I was so glad I had another one, because the only other one that I had was 11/22/63, and I am not reading that. So I went with The Great Train Robbery by Michael Crichton. This was based on a true story that happened in England. Yeah, the Great Train Robbery was an actual event. And so this counts as history. Yeah, this is a true story about a robbery that went down in England when? In Victorian London time, so it was a while ago, but it's something that intrigues me because my dad used to talk about it, and because I'm half English, so I am kind of fascinated by English history. So that covers that. The next one that I have is was the prompt of opulent, and I went with Now You See Me by Jean Bedford because it's got like shiny gold lettering on the cover. This is kind of like the bad side of the child protection agencies, and they're getting like murdered and they're getting murdered or abused by parents, and they all have connections to other deaths. So it actually sounds really fascinating. And again, the last book that I have, which was the last letter, first letter, E in me, E, Eleanor and Park. So, anyway, that's my readathon as a whole, and anyway, that's all the books that I'm planning to read this month. Will I do it? It'll be fun to find out. Because let's not do that. Because this is the size of my palette. It won't even stay standing. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Again, I'll link everything below, and see you later.